All right, welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. My name is Salvador Briggman, and on today's video, we are doing a tutorial of StartEngine. So if you are an investor, you're looking to get started investing in startup companies, you want to learn more about StartEngine, that's what we are covering in today's YouTube video. And I also love to cover topics just like this on my channel. So if you do enjoy learning about crowdfunding or alternative investing or making money online, all those topics we talk about, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for this YouTube channel. All right, so let's get into this. If we zoom in here, I know it's a little bit small text here. If we zoom in here, we can see a couple of different ways in which you can raise money on StartEngine, or as an investor, you can participate in new startup raises. So the first one is going to be called Reg A+. Okay, Reg A+ is the first type of regulation which you can participate in when it comes to being an investor on StartEngine. The next one is Reg D. Okay, so I want you to remember that, Reg D. And number 3 is Reg CF, also known as Regulation Crowdfunding or Title III of the Jobs Act. So when you're coming here to StartEngine, you're going to be participating in one of the raises. It's usually either going to be a Reg A+, a Reg D, or a Reg CF style raise. Now, when it comes to Reg D, these are mainly what are called StartEngine private deals. Reg D is really aimed at accredited investors. An accredited investor is someone who's a high net worth individual. It's someone who is making a significant sum every single year, or they have a really high net worth when it comes to that. And you can see, for example, some of the companies that are raising money right now on StartEngine private. So companies like Anthropic, Ripple, Perplexity, which is an AI driven company, Discord, right? You have a lot of these big name brands, Airtable, that are raising money right now, but they may or may not be available to you depending on your accredited investor status. So I've actually done a blog post on that, and I'll include a link down below if I remember to, on what an accredited investor is and kind of some of the specs there when it comes to that. You also have what are known as Reg A+ style raises. Now, these are established companies, usually companies that are already generating revenue. They've already discovered their business model. They're growing in some kind of a way, and they're much larger companies that are raising money. StartEngine itself is also raising money under a Reg A+ style raise. So as an investor, you can come here and you can discover some of the different companies that are raising money right now under Reg A+ style raises. One example would be Boxable, right, which is one company. And then you finally have Reg CF style campaigns. These are usually companies that are doing a seed round or pre-seed round or maybe like a Series A, and they're raising money from the crowd in order to do that. Now, why do I mention these 3 styles of raises? The reason why is it's going to determine how much you can actually invest. So under Reg A+, a non-accredited investor can only invest a maximum of 10% of their annual income or 10% of their net worth per year, whichever is greater. With regulation crowdfunding, non-accredited investors with an annual income or net worth less than $124,000 are limited to invest a maximum of 5% of the greater of those 2 amounts. So depending on which regulation you actually invest under, it's going to determine how much you can invest when it comes to these raises. So let's kind of dive into this a little bit. First of all, you're going to go to the upper right-hand corner and you're going to click sign up or log in. And you can log in via Apple, Google, or Facebook. And you can also log in via other tools. One of the tools I've been using a lot more recently is called Proton Mail. And if you want to, you can use that as a tool to be able to have a Proton pass and fill in that information here this way. So I'm going to use Proton. We're going to fill in this password. Also, if you want to, you can use Facebook, like I mentioned, or Google. We're going to click continue here, and then you're going to be prompted to fill in a little bit of information. So I would say that compared to other platforms, StartEngine does collect a lot more information than, say, WeFunder when it comes to going through this process. They're going to ask you information about your liquidity preferences, the types of deals you like to invest in. They're going to ask you questions about your net worth, how much you make, all those kinds of questions you're going to have to be prepared to answer when you sign up for an account. Some of that is compliance, but some of that is marketing. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. All right, and now that you are signed up here and you can see the dashboard, what you're going to do is you're going to click Start Investing and you're going to click Startup Investing. And this is going to bring you to the Explore tab on StartEngine. The Explore tab is really what you're going to use to be able to look at different startups and companies and offerings that are currently raising money. If you want to, you can also add different preferences. So for example, I love AI technology and I love marketing, I love sales. So I'm probably going to look at some companies that are related to that. And if you want to, you can customize your preferences. As you come bottom here under the Explore tab, you're going to be able to check out some of the companies that have momentum or that have raised a lot of money in the last few days. You can also check out those that have been most funded on the platform, those that have recently launched, and those that are closing soon. So a lot of interesting ways to kind of dissect these different companies. One of the other things I want to just draw your attention to is that there's also what's called a marketplace here on StartEngine. So when you're investing in one of these companies, you basically don't have a lot of liquidity. If you invest now, you might see an ROI in that 3 to 7 year time frame when their company is sold, or there's an IPO, or like a share buyback program or something like that. Nowadays, the only way to really have any kind of liquidity beyond that would be the StartEngine marketplace, where people can buy and sell different shares of companies that are currently trading on StartEngine secondary. This is similar to the stock market in some ways. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go to StartEngine secondary and you can see some of the different companies that you can buy and that you can sell when it comes to StartEngine secondary. I'm going to go and dial a little bit into some of these companies that have just kind of jumped out to me. The first one is Kingscrowd. So this kind of jumped out to me a little bit, and we can take a look at this. Kingscrowd is a tool which I'm very familiar with because I'm in the crowdfunding industry since 2012, and they actually allow to analyze deals across a couple of different platforms, not just StartEngine, but also companies like WeFunder, for example. And they're currently raising money, as you can see. So I'm just gonna go through one of these just to keep this tutorial more succinct for you, and hope that you enjoy that succinctness. If you do, give me a thumbs up, a like on this video, come subscribe for more content just like this. But what I would say is that when it comes to this, you're first gonna look at the valuation of the company. So there's a lot of detailed information here. You can see they've already previously raised money. You can see here they've raised money in the past via Reg A Plus and Reg CF. This includes 5.7 million, which they've raised previously. They've currently raised a little over 120,000 from 77 investors. The minimum amount that you can invest in this specific round is around $500, a little bit less than $500, and their current valuation is going to be 13 million. So the valuation is going to be based on a couple of different factors. It could be based on the management team. It could be based on the stage of the company, whether it's an idea stage, a prototype stage. They already have traction, product market fit, if they already developed patents and technology, or they already have a go-to-market strategy and are developing significant revenue for the business. There's a lot of elements that go into the valuation, and also the industry that that company in is going to play a role in the actual valuation. If you just want to look at a comparison here, Boxable, right, which is raised 8.7 million with this round, has 3,600 plus investors, more than 1,000 for the minimum investment. They have a valuation of 3.5 billion. So valuations really change, and one thing you should be aware of as an investor is that the valuation is really important, because you're going to be looking at this as an opportunity, and is this going to make a good sense in terms of the price in which you are paying for those shares and what you expect the company to be worth in the future in order to get any kind of return on investment. So in terms of the structure of this page, you have a couple of different reasons why to invest. You have the management team, which is definitely something you should look into when you're an early stage investor here. You have the actual pitch, which goes into the nuts and bolts, the soup to nuts of the actual campaign page, in terms of like the target market, the USP, the competitors, all that kind of information, their competitive advantage, and you kind of learn more about that on the actual pitch page here. We then have the terms. So the terms are more of like the nitty gritty information that you need to in order to make a decision. But what I would say is that it's not very complete. Even if you look at the financials here, it's only going to give you some high level information. So if you really do want to have much more information, I would look at the offering memorandum. That's what's going to give you a heck of a lot more information once this loads, and you can sort of see more detail oriented nuts and bolts. So you'll be able to see much more detail oriented information when it comes to the offering memorandum. Things, for example, like their balance sheet, their profit and loss. You're going to get more information on previous raises and really everything that you need in order to make an investment decision. You'll be able to see in the offering memorandum. So don't just rely on what's there on StartEngine. Also do a little bit of digging so you can get some more financial information on the company beyond what's presented there with just their pitch. If you scroll to the top here, we can also see some other items which you can peruse. For example, the update section. So these could be new events that have recently happened since the raise got started. So bringing on a marketing company or growing or adding advisors, all of that kind of information. There are also rewards. So if you invest at a certain amount, for example, like the $500 level, maybe you get a certain perk, like you get 1 free month of Edge subscription membership when it comes to that perk. You also have the discussion section where you can see other people that are leaving questions and comments and the way in which the company is replying to those. And last, you have the investment FAQs, some information you should just know before you actually get started with an investment. So every single raise on StartEngine or offering kind of conforms to this basic structure. The only one that I would say doesn't, and it's kind of almost hilarious in my opinion, is that if you decide to invest in the company itself, StartEngine, they have a very polished looking landing page or sales page here, however you want to phrase it. So they have a bit of a different look when it comes to their own company, but hopefully in the future, they're going to give other startup companies the ability to customize the look and the feel of their specific page here. The last thing I will lead off or kind of end off on here is that if you are a startup investor, number one, I got a great newsletter out there called the Killer Crowdfunding Tips newsletter, which you can check out down below at crowdcrux.com/newsletter, where I share new techniques, new tools, new trends, new events that are happening in the crowdfunding industry. And if you really want to have your fingers on the pulse and discover the best information and tips when it comes to crowdfunding, go down below and join my Killer Crowdfunding Tips newsletter. The second thing that I want to say, man, is that I commend you so much for working to build wealth. I'm sure it's been a long journey to get here. If you want to diversify into alternative asset classes, I think this is a great way to start doing that, but make sure that you do diversify. Don't just put all your eggs in one basket, and that goes along with platforms. Don't just put all your eggs on StartEngine. You can also explore other equity crowdfunding portals as well. And I do have a video out there, a tutorial for other ones, which I'll link up in the show notes, that you can explore as ways to invest in new startup companies and new asset classes. And the final thing that I will say, and myself being a digital marketer, this carries a lot of weight. Make sure you do your homework, because just because something looks really beautiful, really nice, very well presented, right, and something looks very attractive, doesn't mean that's going to hold up to that test of doing your own due diligence. So make sure you do your own due diligence beyond just what's presented here on these platforms. I hope you enjoyed today's YouTube video, and if you did, give me a thumbs up. Come subscribe to this channel if you want more content like this. And YouTube is a community, so get involved in the comment section down below. Leave a positive comment. Tell me the types of companies that you're interested in investing in, and more about your maybe unique thesis as well when it comes to investing. Would love to hear from you. My name is Salvador Briggman, and I'll see you next time.